Hi, my name is Matthias Knudsen, and this is my project proposal presentation. The goal of my project is to educate others about the cruelties of the medical model of disability. I plan to achieve this by creating a game that accurately depicts the medical model of disability. This game will explain the consequences and flaws present in the medical model of disability in a way that is both easily understandable and fun to play. The main audience for my project is teens and younger people. However, this game would be available for all ages to play. The game would be a little bit complex, but it would allow players to understand what it's like having to undergo the medical model of disability. This game is intended for players who have very little knowledge about the medical model of disability and how it affects those with disabilities. The board for the game would have one large circle shape in the middle, with 5 to 6 smaller circles connecting to the periphery of the large circle. On both the larger and smaller circles, there will be plenty of tiles that the players will have to cross in order to win. They must complete one lap around the large circle in order to win. To advance and win the game, you must take turns rolling the dice to figure out how many tiles you can advance. On the section between the large and smaller circles, there will be a range of 3 to 4 tiles. If a player lands on one of these tiles, they must complete a loop around the smaller circle. Uh, Completing a loop around the smaller circle and tiles illustrates how a disability can hinder your progress and can make you feel like you're in a cycle and in a loop. Across the board, there will be tiles that negatively affect the players. These tiles represent how the medical model of disability can hurt and be detrimental to those with disabilities. For example, if you land on one of these tiles, you would draw from a large deck. These cards will all say different things, but all will relate to the medical model of disability. An example of what could be on the card would be your doctor wants you to come back to the hospital and do more tests. Move back 3 squares. There will also be tiles that will cause you to pick up a different card from a deck. These cards will give examples of stories or obstacles that people with disabilities might have to go through. For example, one card might say, one day, a teenager who has been struggling with a mental disability visits the doctor's office and they are told that they must take a new medication. They take the new medication, but it isn't helping. The teen chooses to keep taking the medicine, hoping that it works, but unfortunately, it never does. So after 3 months, they go back to the doctor and he prescribes the teenager a different medication, putting the teen back to where he started 3 months ago. The process continues, and the teenager starts to feel like he is in a constant loop with no clear ending. After playing the game, the players will understand how people with disabilities have obstacles to overcome that normal people do not have to deal with, both physically and mentally. The sources that are used for research and ideas were Wintering, The Power of Rest and Retreat in Difficult Times by Catherine May, Mean Little Deaf Queer, written by Terry Galloway, and Spoon Theory, written by Christine Miserandino. I tried to use concepts from each book inside my game, whether it was the ideas of loops and cycles from Wintering or the idea of using a game to explain disability from the document Spoon Theory. While creating this proposal and working on the idea of my project, I learned just how harmful the medical model of disability truly is. Before I started working on this project, I thought I understood how hurtful the medical model of disability was, but then I realized I never truly knew. The medical model of disability perpetuates the idea that disability is something that must be fixed. It's something that requires medical attention no matter what. The medical model of disability strives to cure disability, no matter how far-fetched it may sound. Since the medical model of disability strives to cure and fix disability, it has caused large pain in the disabled community. Whether it's the example that I mentioned earlier, of a teen who feels like he is in a never-ending loop, constantly getting new medication that never works, or whether it was the example given by Terry Galloway in Mean Little Deaf Queer. In Mean Little Deaf Queer, Galloway explains how she had a horrible experience with the doctors when she was younger. She was experimented on and viewed as a lab rat and inferior because of her disability. Overall, I believe that this board game would be a beneficial creation. It would inform others about the flaws and consequences of the medical model of disability. This game allows people to expand their knowledge in a fun and unique game.